Do you have a business card?
Yes, I will give you. Just.
No, to Chris. Okay.
So, Joe, my first question to you: what is the latest technology in simulation which CAE has announced in CANSAC?
So I'd actually steer you away from that question and say, what is the latest offering and the approach that we're taking as a business that we're here to talk about at CANSEC? And for us, it's really been the transition from a simulator product manufacturing company into a full-scope training service provider, where we not only deliver simulators and technology to actually train Air Force, naval, military personnel, but also the understanding of how do you bring those pieces together to deliver a full training system to train individuals to become effective at whatever job or task they have at hand.
And out of the three defense forces, which makes a major sales proposition with CAE?
So, are you referring to what stream of defense in Canada?
Yes, in Canada, like three major forces.
Army, Navy, Air
yeah.
Force.
So, which is a major client you have?
So we service all three.
Yeah.
Traditionally, the Air Force in Canada has been the organization that's spent by far the most revenue and most money on actual defense training products and services. But as you see Canada making large investments in new acquisitions, like the Canadian Surface Combatant and new naval capability, then what goes hand in hand with those acquisitions, of course, is the training side and the training service that goes along with training, military men and women and operating those systems. So you'll start to see over the coming years a transition from, the Air Force being one of our primary customers to that being potentially equal between the Air Force, the Navy, and ultimately even the Army downrange.
According to you, which are the biggest market for you in products?
In products.
Yeah.
So again, well, let me ask you a question. The focus on products, as I said, our transition is to really become a training service integrator. So products only form one element of that overall offering. And we don't typically focus exclusively on the product market per se anymore.
Fair enough. And please elaborate in the military training, as you are mentioning that training is a major force of CAE. So, which is the major military training compact CAE has in Asia Pacific?
In Asia Pacific, I'll actually defer to Chuck to answer that, as my responsibility is Canada.
Yeah, in the Asia Pacific area, we're of course in India, as I mentioned, but the bulk of the work that we do in the Asia Pacific region is in Australia, where we again are on all three domains, both air, land, and sea. And we focus, again, as a training system provider, and we provide those capabilities primarily to the Royal Australian Air Force across a variety of their platforms. Everything from the rotary wing systems that they operate to the fixed wing transport systems.
So my second question is to you that with the instability of a Middle East, like the way Middle East is very unstable nowadays, so do you think that requirement or growth of CAE is grown up there because of the situation, in current situation now?
Yes, we're very involved in the Middle East with all of the partner nations in the GCC. So we work across the region, having recently won 3 contracts this last year in the United Arab Emirates. We have a contract soon to be announced in Kuwait, and we work in Qatar as well as Saudi Arabia. So we're working across that region, trying to help with the much needed stability that's required and support our coalition partners.
And with the growing terrorism, what is facing now in current world. So, do you have any simulation product in related to combat the combat the menace of like the growing terrorism? Is
So-
CAE have any plan?
So what I would say is that the impact of terrorism or asymmetric threats has caused an increase in focus on many Western and other nations in terms of building out and deploying new modern infrastructure to help build and take a system of systems approach to actually responding to things like asymmetric threats and terrorism. To say or ask, is there a specific product? You can't really look at that as part of beyond how does the systems that are used by a military or defense organization integrated together to create an overall effect that combats asymmetric threat or terrorism. So as part of our overall relationships with all of these military organizations, we have many dialogues continually on how to advance the art of training in terms of preparing people for situations that can be influenced by terrorism or asymmetric threat. Whether or not that's search and rescue, deploying personnel to assist in the response of an asymmetric threat or a terrorist attack, and so forth. So it affects many aspects of our business, but nothing specifically in terms of a dedicated product for that vein.
And though America is well enough in all the like military operation,